Hang on. We're live on things now.
Are we? We're live on things now. So, hi, you, Eric. It's just Eric. It's just Eric. And there's two people now, Eric. You've got company. You're not alone. Well, as you can see, we're not the spooky show tonight. If you look at the title, it's the Spocky show.
Spocky.
Live long and prosper.
Not Spotty, but Spocky.
Not Spotty, but Spocky. So, good evening. Oh, it's back to Eric again. Oh, I don't know. What have you said to him, Eric? They've gone. Oh, hiya, Jamie. I hope you're doing well, buddy. I hope you're doing well.
He's not well tonight, bless him.
I know. Take care of yourself, Jay.
We're sending some healing tonight.
We will. So, yes, this evening we're talking about, as you can see from the title, as you can see from the writing there, we're talking about telephone calls from the dead. Hi, Annette. I hope you're well.
Nettie!
Hi, Annette. Hello.
Hang on, I'm still sharing.
Telephone calls from the dead. And I'm just waiting for Viv because she's still sharing. We're running slightly late tonight.
This is like, can they with two Y's?
Who?
I put, can they call us? And I put they with two Y's.
Can they call us? And you put the Spocky show up there.
Spocky. It's all Spocky.
Can they phone us Spocky on the Spocky show? So,
I'm just not with it today.
We will be chatting about telephone calls from the dead. Now, I've looked into this, and there has been research done into it over the years, but not nearly as much as maybe you'd have thought there would have been. In actual fact, I've looked for books that are published. I've got one book published by Dr. Cal Cooper, who's a parapsychologist. He's absolutely brilliant. Love him and love his books, love his works. And I've sort of followed him for a long, long time. And he wrote a book on it, and there was one other book that I could find, but nothing else really. So, hi, Sarah. Hope you're doing well.
What have you done to Jay?
Hi, William. Hope you're doing well. He's walking home, the boy.
He's walking home. You got your mate Tony to give him a reading.
Tony gave him a reading. That's why he's not feeling too good.
Because he's realised the truth.
He's realised the truth. So come home to roost. I don't know. Tony will tell you anyway.
It's a bit simple.
He is, but that's called to Toby. Tony.
Toby? Who's Toby?
Well, he's had to change his name, isn't he? He's going to go for Toby now, apparently, because otherwise he'll be breaching certain rights. Hi, you Carl.
Yeah.
How you doing? How you doing, well, buddy?
Definitely a wrong un. He's definitely a wrong un. Oh.
Well, let's just put it this way. I'm not a right un.
Well, let me just quickly tell him. We were going to go and do an investigation on Saturday, and I packed my Willie in my bag ready to come with us because since I bought him, he's been on every investigation I've done.
He has. By Willie Will Travel, I think. Have Willie Will Travel. Hi, Cliff. Hope you're doing well, buddy.
Alison's on. Hi, Alison.
Hello, Alison.
Hope you're well.
Welcome. So, yes. Oh, Briar's just popped in there. Hello, Briar. Hope you're doing well, buddy.
Mr. Bry. Mr. Dorber.
There you go. So, I was looking into it. So there's still research being done into it. In actual fact, it looks as though it could be... What's that? Who's Willie?
Not Dan's Willie. My Willie. I got Willie.
So, as I was saying, can't wait to see your Willie at the church.
I'll bring him with me. Comes everywhere.
Yeah, you Willie up for the boys. What was I saying?
Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, so there is research going on in the background, and I don't know why there hasn't been more research done into it because it's been quite profitable. There seems to be a lot of positive feedback and positive activity around the studying of the telephone calls from the dead, to the point where there are certain apparatus, Spiricom, I think it was called Spiricom or receiver or something. It was a way of contacting the dead. But obviously, this goes way back into sort of 19th century.
Yeah.
With Alexander Bell and what's his name, Graham. And they started. The telephone initially was the chance to telling people filth. That'll be the presenters. That will. Nothing to do with the content. Nothing to do with the content. I forgot what I was saying. What was I saying?
So you was talking about Alexander Bell and
Alexander Graham Bell and somebody else I mentioned, didn't I? Anyway, I can't remember. But that was the initial start of it. And the telephone was lots and lots of inventions during the Victorian period. It ended up being utilised for either for spirit communication. A lot of that stuff that came out of that sort of latter part of the 19th century industrial revolution was then utilised for communication with the spirit world. And a lot of the stuff that we've got turned into everyday things from being initially invented and utilised for spirit connection. So they did find that there was a lot. The thing with the telephone calls in the early days, they found that they were getting more Morse code through. And when they did, I think it was Alexander Graham Bell was one of them. And when they researched they wrote down the Morse because they realised it was a message, and the message was, "I'll see you next Tuesday." But then nothing ever amounted from it. Nothing ever amounted from it.
Don't be rude. See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. No, but nothing ever amounted from it. That was the thing. That was the message. The message was, "See you next Tuesday," or "It's going to happen next Tuesday." But nothing ever. Well, do you know what? I thought that, Eric, but apparently it turns out it wasn't. It turns out it was invented for human communication, but they utilised it for spirit communication, or spirit started to utilise it in the early days. But I thought that.
Do you think that spirit that said "see you next Tuesday" could have been just a spirit with an English spirit, obviously, that had a sense of humour? Because we know
not at that time. I don't think they used that word at that time, did they? In the 19th century, I think that's quite a modern parlance, as it were.
That's quite funny, though.
It is funny. But the idea was that he was saying something's going to happen Tuesday or see you next Tuesday, and it was along those lines. But nothing happened, and there were other messages that were, and it was kind of, well, you know what, there's got to be something behind it, because somebody's obviously trying to communicate, because it's the messages that are coming through, not just garbled.
Do you know, there's this happened years and years ago with my team. My team were there and a few others. I don't know if you were there that witnessed this, but we were in the Galleries of Justice in the police museum bit, and in there they have the old Baker-like telephones with the cord, not a wire, but it's like a cord, isn't it?
Yeah.
And one of them started ringing. And I thought, this is about 2:00 in the morning. I'm thinking, oh, telephone's ringing and you're going to go and answer it. And everyone was scared. So I went and picked it up. Hello, nothing. And then Dickie, one of my members, he traced the cord to find that it was cut at the other end. And there was one not even plugged in. But the telephone rang. And it wasn't rigged. It wasn't a setup or anything, or, you flick a switch and it will just reenact this. The telephone was actually ringing, and I picked it up. And I was like, hello? And there was nobody there. It was completely dead. Didn't hear nothing, not even interference.
I had it.
But that baffled us.
See, I had that once at, I think, if I can remember rightly, it was Kelvin and Hatch, going back a few years. But it wasn't a proper ring. It was just like somebody picked the receiver up and put it down. It gone ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
But that was they're all disconnected. Now, we don't know what that was. I'm sure it was Kelvedon. It was somewhere. It was somewhere like that. But we don't know what that was. We don't know what it was. But we don't know. I mean, it might not have been spirit. It might have been. But it would have been need to be. There was no wind in there, is there? So you're not going to get a breeze, pick the receiver up and drop it. But it was definitely ding, 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 ding. So yeah, it's pretty weird.
But that telephone rang, the telephone rang its proper ring.
Yeah, like it was somebody phoning, wasn't it? You were saying, yeah.
And it was for ages. And when I say for ages, it seemed like ages. But I looked, is anyone going to answer that? And it was like, no, you go and answer it. Okay, then. So I went and answered it, being the dick that I am. Because if I'd heard something on the other end saying, you're going to die, or see you next Tuesday, I'll be saying, see you next Tuesday yourself, you cheeky bastard.
Yeah. But that's the thing, though. The thing is that there's a lot of these instruments that I mean, like Eric said here about radios. Radios have picked up voices, absolutely, which is why we use things like the Ghost Box today, because we utilise that for spirit energies we believe can manipulate the environmental factors and utilise the words in it. TVs, we use them on white noise, don't we? So
He said like cross lines because didn't they have to have the operator shove the thing in the hole?
No. This is like when there were like a handful of them, not cross lines.
Oh.
These were like in the early when they first set it up.
Oh right.
This was
I
like
see.
initially before there was a network. Things were coming through on it.
Oh. A phone on the wall, not plugged in. That
I've seen that, Carl. That's interesting. I've seen that video. And that's genuine because they are terrified. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting, William. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because they brought the thing home. They put it on their wall. It was in America, I think. Put it on their wall in the flat because it was like a Bakelite phone or something. It was looking like not rigged up, but it started ringing indoors as well.
Jesus.
And so they took it back, crapped themselves and took it back. Yeah.
So why would spirits utilise the phone? What is it about the phone? I mean, did they put a crystal or something in the phone? Is there something in the gubbins?
It's got to be doing something with the composition of the phone, isn't it? Whether it's the way that the I don't know what it'd be. The way that it wouldn't have been chips in those days, but the way the mechanics of it are set up, whether it's something to do with the materials it's made from, I don't know. But I know there's been lots and lots of people that have come forward with stories about relatives phoning them at the moment of death or way after death, even to the point like months later, a phone will ring, they'll pick it up and they'll say, "Oh, it's Dad here," or it's Mum, or it's grandmum.
Yeah, I've read that.
Yeah. And they've checked it, and the numbers come from their old phone number. But I know they utilise a lot of the phone numbers again, but sometimes they don't.
So and you've been party to this, Dan, where we've done the telephone experiment.
Yes.
And it's using digital telephones, okay? And I happen to be in a place with Paul Rook. I did my mediumship thing first privately, and I was made to leave my phone upstairs, in the room. And so I left. I had a 5-minute just on my own in the room, did my thing, left the telephone on a plastic table, and then come downstairs. Paul Rook had his phone, and he rang my phone. That's when I left the phone. So we had communication with Paul's phone. I've got the footage. I can show it. And it has been very much analysed in the respect that at the time I was on an Apple phone using, and I will mention it, the O2 network, and Paul was on
checked the networks, didn't he?
He was on an Android phone, and I think he was Tesco Mobile or something like that. Don't quote me, but he was on a completely different network than me, because we both have free phone calls, all the rest of it. Paul rang my phone and I left my phone upstairs. What we got wasn't just, yes, you might hear a bit of interference. There is a little bit of interference on there. But what you hear in the background is a television going off in the background. And I ask, you hear a man's voice. And it's very difficult because it seems like he has like a special needs or something like that, because it's one-worded answers. Hi, Jeremy. Hope you're okay.
Hi, Paul.
Mr. Mould's in the house. Hello, Mr. Mould.
How you doing, buddy?
Need to speak to you at some point, Mr. Mould. Anyway, I digress. So you hear this telephone. On the telephone, you hear the TV, you hear one-worded answers, and the TV was loud. And I ask him to turn it down, and on cue, he turns it down. And obviously, his attention deficit's quite low. He goes back to the TV, switches the channel over. Something else we did, he switched the channel over 3 times. 3 times you hear the channel change. So it goes from a Western or war film to a Western, to a sci-fi movie, and yet there is no TV up in the room where the phone is left, and there's certainly no TV where we are. We're in a derelict building.
And you have to tell them, Viv, there's no other buildings or anything around for miles. It's a farmhouse.
But the thing is, you can still hear through that telephone. You can hear me asking questions. You can hear one-worded answers, and you hear this TV in the background. And we try to get as much information as possible from the person that was in that room that was watching the TV. Paul had rung both networks and spoke to their tech department, the geeks. Could we get a cross contamination across both phones from a TV station? There is no antennas for a TV station anywhere near strong enough that would be able to do that. And both of them said, no, that can't happen. The next thing Paul did was we went on the TV listings for that night to see if the Western, the sci-fi film, whatever it was that he was watching. And we found the sci-fi film, but the last time it was aired on terrestrial TV was over 10 years ago. That blew my mind. So, and he even gave us a date. But I can play some of this footage if you want to listen to it, guys. I mean, what do you think? Shall we show them, Wolfman Dan?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting.
But again, why the telephone? What is it with the telephone? I've never had anything like that. I've no idea.
But it's always, it seems to be things that work in the ether, doesn't it? So things that don't really need any form of things that work across sound waves, radio waves, stuff like that. It's all that, isn't it?
Do you want to talk to them in the chat while I try and find the footage? Have you got it
really close to hand, or we could put it up later on or whatever if you want.
I've got it close to hand.
I don't know. I haven't got. I don't know what I'm going to talk about really, apart from I'm running out of.
Answer their questions in the chat.
Right, let's have a look. So Carl says, true story. A few weeks after my granddad died when I was a kid, went to visit my aunt who had a picture of a tiger at the top of the stairs. Both my mum and myself, upon getting to the top, saw my granddad in reflection smile at us. Never seen my mum run so fast or run in general before or since. We've already said hi to Jeremy, haven't we? Hi, Jeremy.
Hope he's all right, Jeremy.
Bryce says Tesco is an O2 transponder. Hi there, Nick. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope you're doing well.
Young Nicholas.
It does seem to happen more from landline to mobile. Yeah, it's odd. It's an odd one. Brilliant. William says that's a brilliant video. It actually is. Yes, it is a great video. It can happen, but only on rare occasions. Depends on propagation. And Carl says, back in early 2000s, the main TV show would show silhouettes of people making love on the static channel 8. Found out it was cross connection from what my bro was watching in his room. But that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. It's interesting.
I can't find it, Dan. I'm having a look. I can't see it. I've got so much on this computer. Well,
do you know what? We'll be talking about it again because I think it's one of those subjects that really interests me, and I'm going to do a deep dive on it. I think so. I'd really like to come back and visit this again.
Would you?
I really got into it a few years ago. Really got into it, and then I got as much information as I could, and then because not many people have done it, they're still researching it at parapsychology units. But they're not releasing the data that they're getting.
Why? Why are they not releasing it?
Because I think they're still working on it, and they want to see. I would like to know what data they've got at these parapsychological units that they're not allowing out. Because a lot of these parapsychologists now are coming forward and going, "Oh well, yeah, there's still amazing stuff out there that's happening." You think, well, we know full well that you guys make us jump through hoops to prove the point. If we get anything. So if you're getting it, please show us.
Do you think they're there because of that exact point, Dan, that they don't want to share it until they've actually got it sort of locked in because they would do the same to us? Do you think it could be a case of that?
I think that but then how far? I mean, I don't think it would hurt for them to show us how far they've got with it, because at the end of the day,
Something. Yeah.
it could be you could be waiting forever to get the finished article.
Yeah.
You know, you could be chasing that dragon forever, really.
Have they sort of given any indicators what they've found? Nothing.
no. There's an awful, and I mean, there's tons and tons and tons of data out there from people that have actually had communication through these phones, from relatives that have died or friends that have passed on or what have you. As I say, either at the moment of death or before death, after death, or even months after, in some instances.
John.
So there's got to be something going on there. I don't know what it is, but there's got to be something going on there. And if they've been researching it, you bet your bottom dollar that if they weren't getting results from it, they'd have scrapped that.
Yeah,
but they've been researching that for a long time. If they weren't getting if it wasn't going to be no fruition to it, they wouldn't go near it. They'd just chuck it all in. So there's something going on there. I don't know if anybody's done Morse code. Would be an interesting one. It's to see if people could do experiments on that. Because I mean, the origins are pretty much the same, aren't they, as the TV, telephone, and stuff? You know, sort of that form of communication.
You'd have to know your Morse code, though, surely.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, but I mean, if it'd be interesting to get somebody who knows Morse code to sit there with some, like a parapsychologist, whoever, and just write it down and see what information they get back. I often wonder it's like these taps that you get in buildings when you're doing investigations. See, I don't know Morse code, and I often wonder, is this Morse that we're getting when you're getting lots of taps?
Yeah.
To questions, are they saying something that we don't understand? We don't understand it because we can't do Morse, and are we missing a trick? Are we missing a trick? You know
what? I'm looking, and I can't see where I've saved it down. I've got so much though.
You've got tons on there, haven't you?
Oh, I really have. Oh, yes, I have got it. Hang on.
Oh, good.
Oh, I think I might have just found it.
But I'd like to see more done with the Morse. It does sound a good idea, doesn't it, Annette? We used to listen to static on the receiver, one of the funniest ones. We were listening right down on the baby monitor frequency and caught a neighbour. Yes, there's a few neighbours have come through on those things. See, that's another thing. Years and years ago, kids used to use, I mean, going back before my time, really, and that's going back some time, but going back before my time, kids used to make things called crystal sets.
Yes.
So it was a little crystal, and you make it, and it was a radio. And they get the the components, and they put it together themselves. And I wonder if that could be utilised, or have people try to use it. I think a lot of people do a lot of these experiments and then don't write the data down, which is sad.
Right, I've got it down. Shall I share it?
Yeah. Oh, William says he has a crystal set. They're great. They were, William. Jam made a few.
Right, let's see if I can share it. I'm no good at this. Let's just see what happens.
It is an interesting video.
Can you see me?
I can see it. Yeah, I can see you, and I can see the video. I hope everybody else can see it. I'm sure they can.
Can you hear it?
Not at the minute. Is the audio up on it, Viv?
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Let's put it on louder. Can you hear it?
No.
Hang on. I don't know how to get the audio up on it. Oh, here. Can you hear me?
Can hear you, yeah.
Right, I can play it one more time, but the audio is up 100%.
Okay.
Right, hang on. Let me just get in it again. Go back to the sharing thing. You can tell I'm technical, can't you?
It's all right. You're doing better than I am.
Oh, hang on. Oh, I've done something else. Hang on. There's another way of getting into it. Oh, hang on.
Oh, that's the point. William says it might be playing through your headphones, not the speaker, Viv.
Let me take my headphones out then. Hang on. Can you hear me?
Can hear you, yeah.
Okay, right. I'll share the screen again. Oh, hang on. It's asking me to follow some steps. Okay. I've got it.
Eric says that's what I'm doing now, Dan. I'm making my own spirit box, but with some differences I've learned about sound waves. Excellent, Eric. Excellent. Best way to do it, make your own, because then you can tweak it and make it exactly how you want it.
Ooh. I think it's this way. I think that's what I did before. Okay.
That's it.
Can you hear it?
Yeah. Is that back at the beginning, Viv?
Film, Bob.
Can you put it back a bit so we can, like, you can hear it, the build-up, and explain to them what they're hearing?
That's a TV. TV you can hear.
That's in a room that there's no TV or person.
Is that a Western?
Yeah.
Is it a good film, Bob?
That makes sense.
Sure. Hello? Who's in there? Yeah, but what's your name? You need to come closer to the phone. Can you come closer?
The hair's making up music there.
That's a film.
That sounds a film.
He wants to go off.
Is it a war film?
Is that a German film?
Yeah. Bob, are you German? No? No, okay. Do you like German? Bob, do you like German? Because we can't understand it.
Spanish too far.
Can you turn it down a bit, Bob?
Turn it over.
Is it a horror film, Bob? In German? A horror film in German? Okay. Oh, thanks for turning that down. Shall we have a chat now? So,
Wow.
tell me about 2010. Oh, thanks. But no, I can hear you now. Yeah. Is there somebody upstairs with you, Bob? Is this? And I'm back.
And back in the
A
room.
little
So that
snippet.
was brilliant. That was. So to give you some idea what Viv was doing there, I wasn't there. It was Viv and Paul, and they were doing a telephone experiment where they had the two mobiles. They put one in the room, nothing. It was derelict. The cottage is derelict. Derelict room, nothing in there. And then she got she spoke through her phone. She built up she got a conversation going between her and what can only be described as a spirit, really, because we can't can't work anything else out, can you really? There seems to be no other way, you know. And the fact that he wasn't surprised that he was making contact with somebody and sitting there watching his film, so that throws me as well, because if you were sitting there and then somebody started speaking through your phone, you'd be like, "Who the bloody hell are you? What are you doing?" If you was like, you know. But if it's like a regular run of the course thing, you'd be like, and you knew that you were from the spirit world, like, yeah, what? Yeah, I know. So you might be conversing with people on a regular basis. You don't know. But it's interesting, Viv, and it's a cracking piece of
I've never
video.
ever been able to replicate that. Even with Paul, we've been on locations where we've done it again, and we have never had anything
No,
like it. And people have seen that piece of footage and have gone to the place where we filmed it and tried to replicate what we've got, and they've never got it.
no.
Which I think is quite interesting, because what did Bob have to say? Because he wasn't very talkative. It's like the TV was more important at the time than talking to me.
Well, TV's always more important than talking to a woman, let's be honest.
Only if it's EastEnders.
But no, yeah, I mean, you and Paul did that, and you've tried to replicate it, but it's not been
Nothing like that.
successful, has it? I mean, that was a particularly active property, wasn't it?
It was,
That
yeah.
property, and it was particularly strong, wasn't it? The energies there were very, very strong. So
I think the reason we did it in the first place was somebody said, "Oh, switch your phone to flight mode because it's not as though you can telephone the dead." I went, "Really? Watch this." So we did it, and it was just being a little bit facetious at the time. It was just saying, like, I'm going to use my telephone in an experiment that will help. Hopefully, we'll get something and try and use it going forward as an extra piece of equipment. You know, because when people tell you turn your telephone off, you can't use it on an investigation. I went, why not?
see, that's what annoys me with people is they do an experiment, right, and it might work once, and then it doesn't work again, and then you say, well, why don't you get that other bit of kit out that you used before it worked? Oh, I got rid of that. It didn't work. It's like, well, it did, but you're not giving it enough opportunities. You know, it might be it might not be the equipment that's not working. It might be the environment, and if you get the right environment, bang, it's going to work again. You know. Or the right spirit energy.
Yeah. Or maybe they just don't like you and they don't want to talk to you.
Or maybe they don't want to converse with you. Yeah, maybe they're like that. I mean, you know, that's the thing, isn't it? So Bryce says, I wish someone techie could make something that tunes to the same frequency as high-powered pylons give off in rain. I've noticed most sightings in the UK are under high-powered pylons. This is for non-believers. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't under...
Well, you said I hear scary.
It was scary music.
It was. Hi, you Robert. Hope you're doing well, bud. Music. Paul says it was a good experiment. It was a good experiment.
Yeah, it was.
And even yes, Viv was saying that you contacted the phone companies and tried and got them to clarify that it wasn't sort of cross lines or it couldn't do that.
Yeah. Could do that.
No, Paul's still got that phone.
I still have mine, Paul. Maybe we should
collaborate
again.
There you go then. Get them phones back together again. Brilliant. It was really good.
It was weird because it was like, is this really happening? Are we really hearing that? Is it interference? But then you heard quite clearly that the guy was on. answering my questions. John, get your arse out of my face.
It's arse time, he says. Like hammer time, but arse time. So Paul says, I spoke to the phone company and spoke to the tech people and they couldn't explain it. There you go. If it was truly a German movie in the background, maybe speaking German would work. I think he could understand English, couldn't he?
Oh, he could, yeah. Because if you listened, he said, yeah, no.
He says, yeah, you should.
Yeah, no. And he said his name was Bob. And then he actually, later on, he says Robert. Or Robert. Well, the way he said it sounds like Robert, but I think he meant Robert. That his name was.
Yeah, it could be. But
there's a lot of experiments that go on with frequency. John, take your paws off everything. There's experiments that do happen with frequencies. Infrasound being one that we can't even hear.
So you've also got brown sound, blue sound, grey sound, or yellow sound, which people don't really utilise as much, do they?
No.
Be worth trying it all with that, wouldn't it? Really, sort of see if you can get anything with that.
Oh, we do it with our Gansfield experiments. So
the Gansfield experiment's good. The Gansfield experiment is interesting. So he says, Bryce says, the point is it appears in a different frequency of spirit as it is to hear them. Naomi, hi Naomi.
Hi Naomi.
Well. It was really cool. Terry said I've had it through
walkies. Yes, the walkies is another thing.
It's the frequency. It's all about that static, isn't it? It's all about that that white noise or grey noise or what have you.
Question: did they use the telephone experiment per se in the skull experiments? Was it ever used or conducted?
I'm not sure. Did they use it in the skull? I know you used the film, didn't they? The film that was sealed and it was put into a tin or what have you, and then they got images through on that. That was an experiment, an interesting experiment.
Because I know that there was that guy I think it was in Italy, where he had people in a big meeting room and he got the radio and he used frequency and he heard voices come through like a spirit box, if you like, but back in the day, it was a very, very long time ago. So they weren't scanning radio waves. He was just turning the dial for the white noise and the voices were coming through. But he actually got a ports come through with it, like flowers being dropped for people that were hoping to hear from their loved ones. So that sort of connects a little bit with the telephone, doesn't it? And
I've had an idea for an experiment for a long time, and I would love to. I'm not going to say what it is, but I want us to try it. But it's getting the equipment. You've got to go somewhere where you're out of the way because it can be very noisy.
Okay.
And you need people there because you need probably first aid there. You're not that you're going to get hurt, but you just need first aid there.
Are you going to hurt me?
No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. But it will involve a tremendous amount of electricity.
Through me?
No, not through you. Just generating electricity. There's a reason that I want to generate electricity and I want to cross it with something else.
Have we got to speak to Andy after the show? You know what I was telling you? I was telling he's got to build this thing, but we can't.
Yeah, no, he'll need. I need him there because I need him to have a chat with him because I want this big thing belt that pumps out so much, pretty much like a Tesla ball, but I mean a lot of electricity. Then I want to cross it with something, so that at the same time it's that and that's that. Then what I want to do is film it and put audio on it. Anyway, no, it's not. It's not a cage. It's something entirely different, Terry.
First
probably need you, Paul, to be honest.
Yeah, but don't you think you're giving me the kiss of life? I think people have something to say about that.
What was that? Sorry, what did William say? Sorry.
So I'll go back to William.
Frequencies, but I think mostly whichever it is around and wanting to pitches. Well, yeah, I mean that's the same with anything, William. I think, isn't it?
He's paid. What? He's not saying about you. I don't think so.
Probably going to need you, to be honest. Why do some teams use these 70s Panasonic recorders that cost thousands to buy?
Yeah.
I know.
I like Annette's comment there. So they say the perm's making a comeback.
There'll be that much electricity. It'll be like you're an afro by the time I've finished.
Jesus Christ. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
That's shocking, Dan. Hey, the old ones are the best, Sarah. It was not about radio using Italy, and at one point they took out
Yes.
valves. It still was. That's interesting.
That's the one. That's the one. And I'm
That's
sure
interesting.
he had flowers just appearing through the ceiling and dropping on people in the audience as well. I mean, they travel for miles.
I will, William. I will. Will I move over with you? Thank you, Paul. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Paul.
Yes. Yes, there is.
Eric, we don't need a fear cage because we went to this place, right? I have never felt fear like it. Seriously, you didn't even on the live. You didn't even see what happened afterwards. It was that bad.
Hey, well done.
Oh, Sarah, you're just giving him a big head. Bloody hell! Crying out loud, Dan.
Go on, you were saying, Viv.
Yeah, that place that is so scary that we haven't been back to do it properly since.
No,
really,
we need to get the right evening, don't we?
It is so, and I mean so.
Yeah, I've never really experienced. I've never experienced that sort of activity on that scale.
And what?
Well, it wasn't even activity. Well, it was activity, but it was like audio. It was visual, wasn't it?
There was no audio yet.
No, not yet. But we didn't record, did we? When we were talking to him, we should have, really, shouldn't we?
Well, I don't think it would have reached them. I don't know because it happened so quickly, and
we were just shocked.
Seriously.
So William wants to come with us.
William, you know these things, right? There was 4 of them, and I called them Dementors. They'll think you're Dumbledore because he's got white hair and the beard.
Dumb old whore, they'll think I am because I've got a white beard. I did call them. I did. I tried to get them to come in. They did actually. One did, didn't it?
It started to, and I told them to go back.
And then you said, "Who's gone?"
Yes, no, because you were calling them forward, and I was telling them to stay where they were.
Nothing covers acts of Dan, to be honest with you, Naomi.
Naomi, I need to speak to you about bringing Tony Stackwell on stage.
You can imagine they'll be wheeling the pair of us back into accident emergency, Viv, and all you'll have the doctor there going, have they been trying to contact Dead again?
Yeah, it's an interesting story that goes behind this. It's not just...
It's very interesting.
There is a story, and it needs to be told at some point.
They are interesting. I would like a fear cage. You've got nowhere to put one, though.
I just chucked Dan in it.
You need a big fear cage.
I'll put a padlock on it so you can't get out.
You can't get out. You're pretty safe once you're in them.
And a big perspex window.
You're pretty safe once you're in it, sort of.
The little hole.
It's not the cage I want. I want that amount of electricity, that violent amount of electricity, because I think if there's a certain thing I can cross it with, I don't know. I'm just hoping that it might be an answer.
So, Dan, these, it's like a tube of sand. Like, people believe in crystals, and I've got my stuff, that meteorite stuff that I've got. But there's these tubes of sand where the electricity hits the earth and makes this tube thing.
Oh, they're quite beautiful, aren't they, some of them?
Should we not get one of them so you could experiment with that to see? Because it would have came.
It's worth a go. It's worth a go, isn't it? I mean, they make, apart from anything else, they make beautiful sculptures, don't they? When the lightning hits the sand, it makes beautiful sculptures because it burns it. And what does it do? It kind of...
it's like a tube, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes it stick. Some of its beautiful patterns are stunning.
So we get one.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what's cool, isn't it? It's like cellulose, isn't it? So
can we not put that round your neck? So if it's going to come close to me when it goes to you,
it's used, isn't it? It's used in tapes to conduct things like audio and picture, which is where they get the idea about memory, like stone tape theory.
Do you believe in that? Stone tape theory?
I do believe in that, but I don't think that's I think that's some instances of spirit. But the vast majority of spirits seems to be intelligent, so it seems to be interacting with people. But I do think that the materials can hold memory, like a TV set or like a video recorder or whatever.
Do you think we could cause it to happen? So the telephone's ringing, but it's not plugged in. That's me causing that. Do you think my energy is the one that's, I wish that Paco would call me? Or
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I'm grieving after somebody so badly that my telephone rings and I hear that voice.
It could very well. It could very well.
Do you think it could be us projecting?
I think the thing is that it might be with you, but then how many people are getting these telephone calls from people, even that they've not even known that they're dead, but the telephone comes through, they have a conversation with them, unless, of course, somewhere deep down in your psyche, in your spirit, you know they've passed. Do you know what I mean? You're
wanting to have that conversation with them again, that you want it to be as normal as possible.
Yeah, but even, I mean, for example, people have said that there was it was a stately home, and there's one of the children was an officer in the First World War, and they said, "Oh, Bertie's back." I said, "How do you mean Bertie's back?" This is back from the front of France because he's walking around the ornamental pond, and they went out to see him, couldn't find Bertie, and then a day later it had come through, he'd been killed 3 days prior to being seen. Yeah. So is it that in that case that maybe wouldn't be their sorrow calling forward because they wouldn't know he's dead?
No.
Or
is he making his way home to say goodbye?
Or do they know? Is there a connection there that when somebody passes that you're close to, you know it way before they've even you've heard of it? So are you like involuntarily picking up on the message that they've passed, but you don't know it, and then you're seeing them because you're pulling them forward? It's very.
When my brother died, they were turning off his life support machine, and we were making that mad dash to the hospital before they turned it off.
Turn it off, yeah.
We hit traffic on the M25 and we was delayed. I was thinking, oh, Jesus, we'd never get there in time. We'll never get there in time. And my mum, we had to stop at a McDonald's because my mum had to go to the toilet. You know, she was desperate to go and she held it and held it and held it. So we pulled into this McDonald's. She went to the toilet, came back. And as she was getting into the car, I heard my brother's voice saying, "It's all right. Don't rush. Everything's fine. I'll be okay." And literally, within a split second of hearing that, I think it was Andy's mobile phone was ringing or somebody's mobile phone was ringing. And I said, "That's Esther to say, don't rush." But they've had to turn it off. And he'd already been, that went through my head. And then it was Esther on the phone, my sister-in-law, saying, "Don't rush. He's gone. We had to turn it off. We couldn't wait."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, yeah, I knew it was because I heard Nick." Because I was like, "Oh,
yeah." It's interesting, isn't it?
It's funny. It's really funny. It's really weird.
It is odd. It is odd. It's like, and the more questions you've got, the more you question something, the more questions are thrown back at you.
Yeah.
You know. So Paul says, "I've got a good idea for an experiment when we are all back out." Sounds good. I can get a hold of the old vacuum tub radios. I think something like that. That's a good idea.
When you're vacuuming, you know, when the old vacuums,
phones up. Yeah, that's right. That's true.
When you're vacuuming, when you're doing the vacuuming, the cleaning, and the old.
Thanks, Kelly.
The old vacuums make so much noise. It sort of generates its own EMFs, doesn't it? So why can't we hear it through the vacuum? We're not using it for long enough. Do you think?
Well, do you know what? I'll tell you what it was. I think it was a ragged school in London.
Hi, Kelly.
No, it wasn't a ragged school. It was a home, big stately home. I can't remember where it was. And they said this particular room, what happens is children are heard in this room, and they're heard through the spirit box, and people have picked up on them through the spirit box. So we tried the spirit box, didn't get anything, and nobody got anything in there.
I miss you
so
too.
I thought that what I might do is, at the time, is I might try, you know, one of the bells, the Tibetan bells, the Buddhist singing bowls.
Singing bowls, yeah.
So I hit one of them and I tried it, and I didn't think anything about it, and I just wanted to get that resonance going so I could build up the frequency. It wasn't to whatever, it wasn't for the purpose that it happened. Next thing you know, we could hear children speaking. through the resonance of the
True.
bowl, and it was the weirdest thing. And it was like, so it's any frequency, isn't it? Anything, maybe the communications that we're getting are coming from static that's left over from the Big Bang of the universe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's being utilized for traffic from the spirit world, or just static that's in the environment that's been generated from the universe. Who knows? Because I know that the Buddhists say that the singing bowl is meant to resonate when you get it perfectly. It's meant to resonate with the universe.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Kelly got Kylie on the brain. We have to meet you soon. We will
Yes,
meet
definitely,
soon.
Kelly, definitely.
Mr.
Hi,
Rogan.
Dave. Hope you're doing
Hi,
well, buddy.
Dave.
So yeah, it's an interesting subject, isn't it? But telephones, I mean, they do need to, people need to do more experiments with them and not just give up if something. You see a lot of people, like I was saying earlier, and you've seen it, Viv, and Paul's probably seen it as well. Like a lot of people here have probably seen it that investigate. That people give up too quickly on an experiment.
Yes.
Rather than keep using it, they just put it away and forget about it because it didn't work that once.
Yes. And we have a friend, and he will be coming over hopefully soon to the UK, and we're going to set something up so you can go and see what he's been up to. But he never gave up with his thoughts and his experiments.
No.
And from that, he has done something that is so explosive. It has turned the paranormal world upside down. It really has. Because he bit the bullet and thought, I'm going to do something with this. And he persevered. It took him 6 years, but he did it. And I think it's only going to progress from there. And what he's brought to the paranormal community is something so big that if they could manufacture it, that we could take it out in the field and use it ourselves. This will be the next big thing that everybody will want, seriously. So it's always like, if you've got an idea, try it. And if it doesn't work, try it again. And if it doesn't work, modify it. It's come from you. You've got the thoughts, you've got the knowledge and the know-how. It's not, how do I do this? It's, when can I do this? That's what we should be doing as investigators, really. Yeah.
Now, sorry, Paul says, I used to sing about all the time, I think, because the Ragged School dealt with Victorian kids using Victorian methods to keep up the... Yeah. If stop trying to get naked.
Trust me. I don't want to see him naked.
I don't know if anybody does.
The last thing I want to do. Nothing.
But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, there's so many different avenues that people haven't even began to, to look at, that may be options to contact, and I don't know. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of people have got more answers, like the parapsychology units. I'm sure they've got more answers, but they're not letting on. A lot of them. Yeah, I'm sure they have. Yeah, I'm sure they have.
I know one I'm gonna question. We'll try and get him on a show, and I'm gonna question him. Well, he doesn't really do so much in the way of paranormal. It's more sort of the other side, the UFO side of things. But I am gonna have to try
get him on,
get into his head a little bit. We're hoping to see him later on in the year, so I'll have that discussion with him then privately.
Pin him down. Pin him down.
I think his wife might have something to say about that.
Metaphorically speaking, of course. I'm absolutely agree with you there, Terry. Absolutely, 100% agree with you. It's like the spot at the end of your nose, isn't it? You can't see it, or you see it, you collect to look at it.
If you think about Fabulous, I don't call him Fabulous because what he did to me, but Mr. Hawking, Stephen Hawking, when he was alive, he did say that there were things such as wormholes that could be used for time travel, but the wormholes are so small that it's something that us as human beings can't use at this stage, or we haven't discovered it. but he did say that time travel is possible. So should we be going back to the physics? Should we be looking at things that, okay, when you say the word physics, people get frightened, don't they, Dan? They get
Oh,
frightened.
I think the answer to it all is in physics. But
So-
I think that if we're going to find the answers, it's going to be through physics.
And I think we should be asking the question to these physicists. They found dark matter, but they couldn't tell us what it was. I think we need to be probing them and asking them more about this dark matter because it's all around us. Could this dark matter hold all the answers that we're looking for?
We have no clue what they're doing to that Hadron Collider, do we? We don't know what they've discovered. They won't tell you.
They're very quiet, haven't they?
Very, very quiet on that, you know. And so you don't know what they've, you know, bastards, all of them. Information keeping buggers. But I agree. Sorry, Viv.
So if you could phone someone, pretend, doesn't matter, living, dead, whoever, if you could phone anybody, who would it be and what would you tell them? Because you'd only have one sentence. You could only ask them one question. What would you say?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
It can't be a family member, so keep your family out.
Oh, it can't be family.
No. Somebody else. So family, keep out of it. Just somebody else. If you could ring anybody, somebody else. Because that would be personal family things.
I have no idea. Do you know, I can't think of... Because the thing is, like you, I've got so much I want to ask. And you're limited by time, and you're limited by the restrictions not being able to speak to spirit for whatever reason. And I've got so much, and yet when we got Jonathan and what's the lady's name, Viv?
Oh, Elaine, yes.
Elaine Thorpe on with Jonathan, and she channeled his spirit, and I believe that she's that there's no way. She's completely 100% true. And when she channeled his spirit, and I got to speak to him, I was in such awe that I was speaking to a spirit that I completely forgot. What do I want to ask? Because there's 1,001 questions all hit you at once. It's like, oh crap, I don't know what to ask the fella. But I don't know. What would I ask? I mean, the question I would ask, I don't know who it would be I would phone, but the question I would ask to the person that I did phone would be, what's it like over there?
Okay. That would be the question that you asked.
Yeah, what's it like over there? Because it's pointless asking them, do we live after death if you're speaking to them? Clearly you do.
Do you know what? It sounds really stupid, but just for laughs, I'd ring Dom Perignon up, the
champagne person,
and say, did you taste your drink? And did he actually taste it and drink it himself? Dom Perignon. Because that's been going on, and it's so up there, like, it costs a lot of money. And he came from a meagre background, but did he actually ever taste it himself?
Be quite nice as well, wouldn't it, to find somebody that they, like an artist or someone that devoted their life to the arts or devoted their life to something, but they always remained poor and died in poverty. Yeah. And speak to them and say to them, not so much like ask them a question, but to say to them, your legacy has way outlived you, and the beauty that you've left, we're still enjoying, and it seems to be an eternal thing. So your life was not wasted by any shot. Yeah, be nice to give somebody that message, you know. So they probably know anyway, but it'd be nice to let them know it. Yeah, you know,
somebody like I don't know, Louis Pasteur, you know, who discovered penicillin.
He discovered pasta, didn't he?
Pasta.
Yeah, or I don't know, Van Gogh, someone like that. You know, somebody who lived in torment.
You ring
Died
that Van Gogh. Ring
before.
him up and say, here.
You can't speak to him because he's deaf, isn't he?
Is anybody here? Oh, sorry, you've only got one ear. Try the other side.
But yeah, I mean, it's odd, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, Eric, exactly.
What's Eric saying?
Nikola Tesla. I'll ask him how it's hanging.
Hanging.
Now that would be one spirit I wouldn't be able to talk to because the level of intelligence on him. Well, me and him would never meet. He's way above anything way above my pay grade. Paul would say I'd call Alexander Graham Bell and tell him the phone's a flop, and he will end up topping himself. That way, he won't pursue the phone, and we won't have the phone zombies that keep getting in my way when I'm rushing to the fair comment. Hiya, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Great to have you here. Yeah, exactly. Van Gogh Cox Deffen. Yeah, it's just it's odd, isn't it? I don't know. It's odd, isn't it? There's so many people I'd like to speak to that are over there at the minute.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm in such awe. Oh, you can't. What do you say?
We'll have to try one day and do a live with the telephone experiment for everybody when we do a Striking Midnight episode, which is coming soon, guys.
Yes, definitely.
We'll have to do a bit more with that and see.
I've got to have a chat with you after this, actually, for 5 minutes or 10 minutes because
woman trouble.
I've got an idea. No, not at all. But I've got a great idea about Striking Midnight, and yeah, I'll discuss it with Viv, and then I will tell you exactly what's going to happen if it comes to fruition.
Oh God, he's going to stick me in this box and electrocute.
No, you're all right. Oh, sorry, I missed Cliff Jones up. I missed Cliff up here
with a cattle prod.
We once had 2 frequency tones come through at Witch's Wood. Bri was there at the time. I recorded these 2 frequencies and played back on another investigation with another team. 3 of their members was affected. I had to turn it off.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting.
That's really, really interesting.
That's interesting. Oh, I remember those days, Robert. I remember those days. Oh, I used to love it.
So why wouldn't that work now? Seriously, why wouldn't that work now? Long enough
who knows?
Left it somewhere. You're at the other end trying to talk to spirit. You never know what might come through.
I used to love that when we were kids. Used to get the tin cans and cut the thing and put the string through. Brilliant.
But they say the old experiments are the ones that truly, truly worked. So, you know, with a string of bells and...
People don't utilise it enough. Strings of bells, talcum. I remember when I had kit years ago and I stopped taking it out. And I used to always have like a tub of talcum powder. Black paper, like rolled up. And they said, what you got that for? And I said, well, that's just like, you know, that's in case there's activity somewhere and there's a spirit that's meant to move through a certain area or there's footfall. Then I'll put that there and I'll put the talcum powder in and see if it gets disturbed. People don't use that anymore, you know?
You know, they rely on all these pieces of equipment that have batteries in them. I will tell you now, you've heard it, you hear it here first. You cannot put substandard batteries in these pieces of equipment. So if you go to the pound shop or the dollar store to get your cheap batteries, put it in your equipment, your equipment will start failing because they only last for so long, gone. So they start failing. If you take your equipment out in cold weather or if it becomes cold, the batteries fail.
So I keep batteries in my pockets, in my trousers.
I use these battery testers and the tester says I'm okay. The battery tester will also fail in colder weather. Then when you come into a nice warm room and you go, oh, look, my camera's working again properly now. Duh.
When they're out and they're using the camera, and say they've got a fully charged battery, and I've just put this battery in, and it's been charging up, and you say, yeah, but it's freezing cold. It's going to jam the camera as well. It affects every piece of kit you've got.
But what they don't realise is when you see the TV companies and stuff that go out, and like when I used to work in motorsport, you'll see the big cameras, and they would have all these things around the battery component. Somebody saw they took their socks off and wrapped it around the batteries so the batteries stayed in good precision.
Yeah,
order. And it's like
in my trouser pocket, like next to my skin, because
Yeah,
it keeps them warm.
yeah. So,
Hi, Lynn. Hope you're doing well.
so it's just like people. Sometimes common sense does disappear. But if they're out just on an event and they're enjoying themselves, what the hell? It doesn't really matter. But when you're doing a serious investigation and your equipment's failing and you're sitting there going, "Duh," you really do need, and I can't say this enough, you need to do your homework. You need to do research. You need to research your pieces of equipment, pull it apart. What are the false positives? Has it got a flaw? So you know them. I remember when I first got my K2, I wanted to take that apart. I've taken one apart since and done all sorts of things with it.
Excellent,
But yeah,
Lynn. Glad to hear it.
yeah, your camera.
Yeah, no, you have to know
camcorder.
your kit. You have to know your kit. And that's the thing, isn't it? The thing is, how many times have you been on an investigation, Viv, and people have gone, oh, batteries are drained. That Spirit's done that. Spirit's done that. They were brand new. And you go, where did you buy them? Well, I've got them from the pound shop. Well, yeah, there you go then. It's not Spirit, is it? It's just you being cheap. You know what I mean?
Cheap enough.
It's like, yeah, it's crazy, it's crazy. But that's the thing. I don't think people don't seem to put much thought into it anymore, do they?
Yeah, but they don't like thinking outside the box, Dan.
No, they stick with the same thing.
Going back to the old ways, like with your flour and your piece of paper, and that to me is foolproof. You put a locked off camera on it, shut that door, padlock the door, don't let anybody in.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's true. It's true. You see, you still see them out there, and they're running around headless chickens, and you think you're not going to achieve anything, and I'd give up talking about it really because it just infuriates me. I even saw the other day, the same thing again, called professional, not professional, but is professional, I suppose, because he's been paid for it. TV investigator calling out paranormal activity, and it was clear that he was too close to electricity, or the piece of kit he had in his hand was making something. And it's like, now you're clearly not making. It's not that you're utilizing that for poke. You're clearly making a mistake. You don't know what you're doing. You genuinely don't know what you're doing.
How many people do this these days? Oh
yeah,
I remember those days. It does make me laugh.
That's the thing, isn't it? People
dare you to put this on your tongue.
There's some great investigators out there. There really are. The biggest thing with all these gadgets, cross contamination, loads of equipment too. Yeah.
It's the biggest sin is not knowing how to use it on its flaws, and
that's most of them, isn't it, Viv?
Yeah,
most of them.
They have to have the latest gadget, but they won't actually work with it or get to understand it or get to know it.
But that's the thing. If you don't know it, how do you know if you're getting positives or false positives? You don't, do you? Because you don't know the equipment. It could be doing all sorts of things.
Oh, she's put a battery on your tongue.
Yeah, horrible, isn't it, Lynn?
Good woman.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dan, do you know what time it is?
It is coming up to 10 past. Jar of Doom time. Let's see what we've got in the Jar of Doom for next week.
I've given it a good shake, so we get another good one. Tell me when to stop, Dan.
Stop, Dan.
Oh, God. Right, I've got loads here. Hang on. I'll have to lay them out across the floor.
What number out of one between 1 and 30 do you want?
Right, hang on. 1.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
And number 6.
Yeah. 5.
This is number 5. It's all your fault, Dan.
Of course it is. Can history really repeat itself? Now, what context are we talking about that in? Are we talking about that in replays?
Historic things replaying, I should imagine.
Oh, is
Not
this
as in-
like the theory about time? Like we've been to this point before in history, and all of a sudden we might have
Matrix.
collapsed, and then we come forward again. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Can history
Actually,
really
just out of that, give me. Have you put the others away?
Yeah.
Like,
Do you want me to
get one more out. Try another one.
Let's put that back. Actually, that would be a good one for Jamie.
Yes, yeah, he'd like that. Yeah, he would like that.
Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Fucking hell. I've thrown them all over the floor. Hang on. 1. Let's get Eric to pick a number.
I was going to say exactly that. Eric, pick a number.
Eric, pick a number. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. And I think Eric should come on with us and talk about whatever number he picks.
Should.
Self-mutilation.
Eric, I
Batteries
stuck
on
my
your
tongue
tongue.
alive while before I had several batteries. Lynn, yeah. Oh, I've done that, Lynn. God, that hurts. I have done that, Lynn. Oh, it makes you. Oh.
I'll have it.
Oh,
Eric,
okay.
we expect you on next Tuesday
Well done, Eric.
with us to discuss
Interesting.
You up for that?
Interesting.
Eric, are you up for it to join the gang?
Don't let her bully you into it, Eric. You don't have to, mate, if you don't want.
I'd much rather.
She's a
prefer
bully.
Rita. I'd much rather prefer Rita. She's so much nicer. She's just calm and, understanding of the female species, because she is one. Right, so that's what we're doing next week. We're not
Jolly
changing
good.
it.
Hey, Eric said sure. Good man, Eric. Look, everyone can see that now, so you've got it verified. You can't get out of it.
I would call Eric a special guest, but Eric, the only way he's going to be special is to do with his special needs.
We've got one of them.
Because he connects with Dan. And if you're connecting with Dan, you've got to have special needs.
Me, him, and Jamie, we'd be a right win treble, wouldn't we?
Oh my God!
We were like the
Windelica's Day Out.
Yeah. we were like they call the Three Stooges.
Three Stooges? You'd be more like the Three Stupids.
Oh, I love the Three Stooges. God, I love the Three Stooges.
My God. Yeah. Rita, we'll have to do something.
Bless her.
When you come over, Rita, don't forget you've got Nikki's credit card and we're going shopping.
Yeah, me and Eric are off out, and we are. Hey, the Three Amigos, says Eric. Exactly, Eric. Exactly.
God. So
that was quite an interesting one. And we didn't go too far off topic. We didn't start talking a lot of old nonsense like we normally do.
Oh, Mr. Southey's in the house.
Where have you been hiding yourself, Mr. Southey? We've missed you.
Oh.
We've missed you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you and your good lady wife are doing well.
Now, there's something I've got to say, right? So these telephone calls from the dead, and William will say to you that alchemy has a lot to play with this. Now, alchemy is not what people think it is, like taking a base metal and turning it into gold. It's not about that. It's something completely different. I can't even begin to tell you where to start looking.
Oh, it's very intricate. Yeah, it's very intricate.
Oh, is it?
It's more, yeah, it's tons and tons and tons and tons of study, and yeah, you're right. It's not what people perceive it to be. It's a lot more in depth, far, 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 far more in depth than people have got any idea of. But Mr. Southey is the man at the moment. He's the man who studies it, so he'll know more than anyone.
Actually, in a funny way, because I'm a complete novice, right? But I have learned quite a bit for me from Mr. Southey with alchemy and by what he says, because he says it in a way that makes you do the work, you do the research, you try and understand, and over the years it's beginning to sort of a little bit is fitting in, like, oh, I've suddenly got that piece and I understand that, but my little piece that I understand is about this big.
What do they say, though?
Like
what do they say? From little acorns, great oaks grow.
Are you calling me thick? Because a great oak is
Yeah, call you thick.
I am.
There's enough people in front of me call you that before I start.
Ooh.
Briar says Merlin.
Merlin. No,
I used to have a raven called Merlin. I used to own a raven called Merlin.
I'd rather have a Dumbledore on my side. I've got Dumbledore. That's William Becker. Looks like.
Oh, yes.
Right, he's going to hit me for saying that.
So I think are we done then, Viv?
I think so. So we'll be back next week talking about Urbex versus Paranormal Investigation. We are on the Simply Spooky channel again tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.
Never a true word spoken.
Yes.
Never a true word spoken.
So,
thanks, William. Take it easy. Have a good afternoon.
Love you, William.
Have a great one. Love you, William.
So we're back tomorrow. We haven't got a special guest booked in, but that doesn't mean to say we might not have one. So it will be a surprise if we do. We are going to try and get somebody to come on. We will see what happens. We've been a bit lax this year, to be fair.
Lynn.
Take care, Lynn. So tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, we will do it all over again. Oh, no. No, William Becker, not Mr. Southey. I know you're married. It's
all these Williams.
I know there's too many Williams. All of a sudden,
Williams.
There's a William explosion. I don't know what's going on with the Williams. So, yes, next Tuesday and tomorrow night. So we will be back. And
See you soon, Lynn. Another one.
Do you want to wind the show up, Dan? Last word.
Yeah, I think that's it for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for coming along and joining in. We didn't go too far off the course tonight. We still probably spoke a load of nonsense, but we didn't sort of gravitate too far away from the main subject. So thank you ever so much, everybody, and we will catch up with you at some point. Well, we're on tomorrow, as Viv says. We're Simply Spooky tomorrow. What's happened?
Eric!
Well, it's...
Trust him.
Oh, I hope you feel better soon, Lauren.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Oh, best wishes and big man hug coming at you. Feel better soon.
Take care, Lauren.
Take care of yourself, Lauren. Night, Sarah. Night. See you later.